Yeah, g'day everybody. Wade Northhausen here. We're here at Woomelang and we're covering the protests here against the Cubico company and what they're trying to do with the wind turbines and so on. Anyway, we're running into a lot of really terrific people, and we were just talking to Chris here a minute ago. So Chris has got some ground here, and he has a bit of a different perspective on things as well on what's being done to their place. So I might just throw it over to Chris for a second and say good day, and you might just tell us a little bit of a brief outline of what your situation is.
Yep, no worries. We back in February didn't know about this, and then we found out through neighbours who found out on social media. So for us, it's been a learning curve. We found out which paddocks are impacted, and we just found out today that the power lines coming out of this project are meant to go through our paddocks. I can't say we're overly concerned in that this project has no chance of getting up. We've been becoming experts on the whole VNI West, which isn't happening. The landowners won't grant access. We know the Mildura sort of Red Cliffs to Horsham line is completely full. It's congested. We know how vindictive and nasty West Wind can be, and they've got a whole lot of turbines planned, over 200. So they're not going to give up any ground that they've got right near the existing transmission lines to give a bit of charity to Cubico to come and play with turbines in our area. But at the same time, we want a clear answer from them. Will they tell the host today if they'll pack up and go, and that there's no deal?
So, the transmission lines are a little bit of a different thing to what most people have been talking about here today. Um, do do you think that they are possibly might look at expanding the easement and running more transmission lines to cope with this new stuff that people aren't aware of yet?
Well, we heard a little bit after one of the Yarmouth Shire's secret meetings with Lily Ambrioso and the guy in charge of VicGrid, and apparently they want to run, I think, 4 lines from Warrnambool down to Melbourne to take the power out. So um, even if they did, we've heard from VicGrid, our neighbours have been to Horsham, done consultations. There's really no way to get new lines over the Yarrambia Creek because of the Aboriginal overlays on there. So I know that the Wilka proposal that West Wind wants will have to cross it in 2 places, and I don't know if they're going to do that or if they're going to pull a few strings to make it happen. But there's already enough stuff here. VNI West is not going to happen, not anytime soon. So yeah, I don't think this project's going to happen, but I think Cubico will try and drag it on if they can, even if it's just to try and get hosts signed up, get some caveats on their land, play around, have a bit of fun with our area, our community's expense. But yeah, it's getting a bit tiring now. I think we'd all like it to just end. We've had some fun putting out signs and that, but I think it's over, and Cubico just needs to understand that.
So the inside there, the whole thing about caveats was raised. So what can you tell us about what's the go with these caveats?
Well, we're hearing about them being put on people's land out towards Warrnambool, all around there, who have signed up. And again, we're talking about hosts who are maybe going to get up to 40 turbines each by 40 by 40 is $1.6 million a year. Anyway, that's what they've been told on their contracts, but I think that's how many they can fit on their land. Cubico will then go to the next neighbour and try and sell those same turbines. But with that, we have all agreed, and our financial guy even told us the other day, if you sign a neighbour agreement, they'll put those on your land as well. And it's not much. I think I've heard $8,000 tops for the nearest neighbours, and it goes down very quickly.
As in income for the neighbour.
Yeah,
Yep.
for the entirety of the thing. It's pretty pathetic. But yeah, we are concerned, and I did write a letter to the editor for a few papers that went pretty far on social media about hosts checking their contracts and making sure that the deal is in their favour. And none of the hosts bothered to get back to me or any of us. Got into the country hour, then Cubico released a statement. And again, I was here in the country hour the other day where VicGrid's deletion of the Bull Oak Shire as a res zone means these projects are very much in doubt. And yeah, West Wind's comment when they were contacted was no comment. Well, it's a draft. Cubico's was rambling. It was, we're still valid. We've got reasons for being here, all that kind of stuff. They blurted out so much that it makes it sound like even they don't believe this is going to happen. But yeah, we are concerned if they do move on to the lease agreement here, that will put those caveats on their land. And yeah, we're worried about the other farmers that have done it in other areas.
And like we've heard bits and pieces from people about these caveats, and I think they're a bit of a minefield that many people who even entertain the thought or get involved with some of this stuff, they're certainly not aware of the risks of that and what they can do, and to the point where, as I understand it, they can have caveats over your land. You signed up to something that never ever happened, so you don't make a cent.
Yeah, and that's what worries me. I'm hearing numbers like 70 years. The projects, they say 35-year lifespan, but what happens after that? The Murra one, I thought it was West Wind, but it's not. It's been on sold 3 times. It's now a different developer, a different owner, and that's what West Wind does. I think that's Cubico says they won't, but they will. They just want the permit to do it and the permission from the government. Then they'll just sell it on to someone else to make the money. So that's how they make their money. Or they talk about how,
Yep.
yeah, they might not make enough or something isn't really valid. I think they know what they want. They want that permit. They'll sell it off. And
So one of the things that was raised today in the meeting here uh, is about decommissioning costs. Now, as you just said, some of these companies who say, "Oh, yes, they'll cover the decommissioning, no worries."
yeah,
However, as you just said, some companies have already been told 3 times. So who's to say that when these things are time for decommissioning, that there is even a company still left?
yeah. Well, that's what I tried to say to the host through the letter to the editor. Like not signing up may be the best investment you make for your children's future because some of them are saying after denying it, they'll say, "No, I'm doing it for my kids." And yeah, they're doing it down to Portland now. That's the perfect test case. But from what we hear, it's been done under the government's banner and it's all signed away, locked away under agreements because the true cost. I thought I heard 2 to 3 million to refurbish each turbine to actually put it, like get them back into operation. But yeah, what are the costs to take them down? I'm hearing $750,000 in today's money in Queensland. And speaking of which, Queensland rejected one. New South Wales, one of the interconnectors doesn't have enough capacity to take out any more wind power, so they've cancelled several. And they're really pushing like community consultation and all that sort of thing. And Cubico's done nothing. So yeah, we are worried about decommissioning, but I think this project might be out of commission before it even gets up.
Well, look, and with the angst and the disruption to agriculture and the whole thing, we hope so. But if we just looked, let's just say, I don't know, 5 years down the track, and the whole thing fell over, uh, the state government and so on, they've been decommissioning coal-fired power stations
Mm.
by saying that you've got to get your carbon down, and that's absolute just load of crap, absolute fraud, that stuff. But if we get to a situation where these things don't happen and they've blown up the coal-fired power stations, where does that leave Australia in terms of electricity generation?
Well, I think the Weekly Times had a story. I couldn't read it, but they want a Chinese company wants to build a diesel powered generator.
What?
Yeah, but behind a paywall. So yeah, that's what gets me. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not sure. I know we've got so much natural gas to use. I don't know if they throw a lifeline in if we copy America and put stuff back into use. But I'm still hearing the statistic years later that China's opening up 2 new coal-fired power stations a year, and
Oh,
with
I
all the
think I think it might be nearly a month.
yeah, okay, month. Oh, sorry, yeah, I was thinking a week, month. Yeah, but the fact that that's happening and then they build all the junk to send over here to make renewables is pretty bad. So I don't know. I would have hoped for nuclear. If Belgium can have it in their tiny little country, surely we've got enough space to bury a little bit of uranium. Especially since Horsham has got that Avonbank mine going right next to it. It's going to shower the town in radioactive dust. So is radiation that bad, or is it the context? Is it politically incorrect to say that we can have nuclear energy, which is zero emissions under the um, whole Paris Agreement? But yeah, I don't know. In the short term, all I know is that a surveillance economy, security cameras everywhere, digital currency needs power. So I don't know if the way the government's being played at the moment for a bit of activity and it's all going to turn on a dime and shift over to something more reliable. But Spain's had their blackouts, and I think if you have blackouts, cool, use cash, do some offline paperwork, that kind of thing. And I don't think that's really what the government wants overall. So
All right, mate. Well, look, good to catch up with you anyway,
Yeah,
and I hope that they knock this stuff on the head because it's just a disaster.
yeah,
All across the country, it's a disaster. Um, Personally, I'm for getting stuck into a few more brand new coal-fired power
yeah,
stations.
definitely.
You know, the gas side of it and nuclear, okay, but I mean we've got huge reserves of coal,
Yeah,
and I think that the stuff that they can build these days is incredibly emissions sensitive. You know,
yep.
it's very good in terms
And
of.
just right on the chimneys, this is steam, not toxic chemicals, and people will understand.
Isn't it amazing the amount of people go, look at the smoke coming out of that
Yeah,
thing? Oh my god, they got no clue.
exactly.
But anyhow, all right, mate.